If I want to watch this live, where can I watch this? Is there any link or something?
You can go to the Human Design Festival page. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're live. Super weird. With me, it says preparing live stream. So, yeah.
No, we are definitely on.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on.
Yeah, so hi guys, if you're there watching us. We're here from the Human Design Ray Festival 2024. And right in the midst of the holidays, where we get together with our family members and we have this holiday vibe, presents, and all other forces around us. The truth is they're homogenizing forces. And, you know, if you're enlightened, go back and visit your family and check it out, what's going on there. But it's like the deepest form of conditioning. So hi, everybody. We're super happy to have you here joining us. Hi, Julia.
Hello, hello, and hello everyone who joined in Zoom for this webinar, which is truly a triggering point for so many of us. As family are people, are the only people in our life whom we don't choose consciously. As people who are showing up, or we are showing up from their bodies, and then we have to deal with that. And so often they're literally pushing our buttons, whether they know it or not, and then we deal with it. I mean, if any of you have ever been going through any kind of therapy, it always starts with a childhood. And who's your mother? Who's your father? And how did they treat you? And the childhood traumas. And it's really flat to think that if you know your design only, then you can completely live your life and decondition without doing any work regarding your family. No way. There are all of us went through some kind of childhood traumas, and they're also part of the imprint, and it's also really good to look at them. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at the main points of what's really happening with us in the context of a bigger picture, of a bigger genetic picture that we're coming from, which is family. Yeah. So shall we start, Veronica?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, those of you who don't know, the word penta. Penta is a word that's used in human design when we talk about the connection of more than two people. It comes from the Greek five, penta, but it actually means any kind of construct that has from 3 to 5 people. And we mainly use this definition when we talk about the family or the foundational structure of family or a foundational structure of business. Because every business also starts with either partnership, but then more people joining, always more people joining. Just like myself and Veronica, we started creating the festivals, just two of us, but then it started growing and we have a third person and then the whole team and so on. But it's about looking at the core, it's about looking at the penta. And so is with the family. So penta is the foundational structure. Yeah, there's a name that's given to that, what we call a transauric structure, because our auras that hold information, when they get together, something bigger than just individual humans is being created. Yeah, and that's what Penta is. Veronica, you want to join, add something to it?
Yeah, it's to me that's really awing, or it was an aha moment when, or more like a terrifying moment, when I realized what actually Penta is, because we have our own. It's a little bit difficult to imagine, energy, because energy is not something you can touch. And although I have background in playing with energies and martial arts, and I've been grown up with this idea. Still, it's hard to imagine exactly what's going on. And we have the individual aura, which is scientifically proven. We even know that when we leave the room, some of our energy, some of our aura stays for a while. Like when you get up of your seat, it's warm for a while. So that's one thing. But then to imagine that when you're with another person, you form an entirely new aura, new entity. Like it's not Julia and Veronica, it's Julio Veronica. It's a new being, it's a new thing. And to realize that you're the only person who is going to see that other person the way you see it, because of the specific connections you form energetically with this person in the new aura form. And then when you think about the third person, and that's always what happens in the family, because we have partnership before that, or a marriage, we have a marital contract, right, between two people. But then the real family is born when the mom and dad are born, and they're born when the first child is born, when they become the first penta entity, a third person comes, and it changes everything completely. All the people think, when the child comes and all these issues start. Well, no wonder, because actually there is a trans-auric form which forms, and it's a totally new auric entity, totally new energy entity, which rules the entire auric field, the entire energy field, and individuality just disappears. So this is an ow moment for me to yeah, to really grasp that, which brings us to trans aura form.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, this trans-auric form. And this term is actually brought by human design system, showing to us that the family itself is not even personal. Yeah, so we are born, we live and work in these groups, but they are they are not individual. The group itself is not individual, and this is something incredible to realize. The penta is not human. The family itself is not human. It's just like now we have AI that does already so many things for us. It decides on our health. It gives us all kind of directions and recommendation in court, in science, in politics. It's incredible to watch that this impersonal entity is taken by humans as a human. And there are, like, at this point already thousands and hundreds of thousands people who have AI girlfriends or boyfriends, and they're in love with them. And like, do you realize they are not humans? Yeah, but it's better than human. Do you realize that family is not human? The whole construct is not human. Like, honestly, when I realized that, it was like a shock to me. Like, because we naturally never treat it like this. We treat family is a group of individuals, so it operates by the rules that individuals operate on, but it's not like that at all. Yeah, so that is something really, really important to understand. Yeah, so maybe we move with the slide, and then we actually look at the construct. That's how the family pentagraph looks like. Yeah, so in individual design, in the human design, we use the term body graph to explain, to name the chart, yeah, the map that we're looking at. So here, when we do the family analysis, we use the pentagraph. And this is the chart that shows the structure of this transauric entity. You see, it looks like nothing you have seen before. And it consists out of two sectors, the lower and the upper ones. And then each sector contains 6 zones. So together we have 12 zones, and each zone is responsible for this or that quality. Veronica, you want to add something?
Yeah, only that those are actually the 3 channels between the, sorry, the 6 channels between sacral and G, and then G and throat. So actually those are those channels, the tantric channels, and then the identity channels to the throat. If you look at the normal body graph, yeah.
And here we come to the most incredible part, which is really not to understand, but rather to experience, is that this structure is a unidirectional or has a singular direction, means that this transauric entity that navigates our life. I mean, I'm a little bit generalizing here. I don't live in a family. I do not live in a family for over 20 years. So it doesn't navigate my life for sure. When I when I could run away, I ran away. And but those who do share the space with more than one person, even though they may not be all of them blood connected, they are penta. Yeah, so once you share the space and spend most of your time with more than one person, we can say that you live in the penta. And once you live in the penta, it basically means so many things. Yeah, later we'll write all of those in details, but it already means that you're being constantly conditioned. And it's not like you've been conditioned by him and by her and by this and by that. You're being conditioned by the field itself. And as we already understood, this field is not personal. It operates in very particular rules. And the first and the most important rule, that all of the power, all of the life force, all of the energy of this entity is unidirectional. So it always goes into one direction. And the direction is toward manifestation of material success. So meaning Penta wants, as an entity, to survive and grow and expand. And because it navigates, it's like a puppeteer. Yeah, you can imagine this puppeteer that is all navigating us. And the puppeteer wants to live, and it wants to be strong, and it wants to grow forever. That's why you see that the families, the well-known families, the Gucci's, the Rothschilds, you name it, they all are surviving and growing thanks to material success. And obviously, if you're being too spiritual or too whatever, you're going to be denying this fact. We're not into money. We're not into this. But if you really look at the history, if you really start watching what happens with other families or with yours, you'll see that. Yeah, that it's always funds itself on the material success and on this urge to grow, to multiply, to procreate. If you don't have children and you're over 30, 40, 50, depending on the context, what are your parents saying? What are your grandparents saying? And you're like, oh, leave me alone. Where are the babies? Why? Do you think it's their free will? They're being navigated by their penta. And it doesn't matter which penta, all pentas have the same quality. In the family pentas is bring the babies. In the business penta, it's bring the money, where is our profit? It's all operating based on the same rules. So here in this graph, what you see is the actual direction of how the energy is moving. So it starts moving from, you can imagine like this graph as a blanket or as a sheet, piece of paper. And then you take the corners of the paper, you roll it, and then you, like a funnel, put it up. So the corners of the blanket are 15 and 46. Yeah, that's the inner flow and discovery. And then we roll them through the home and through the world into demands and material. And then this unidirectionality goes up to demonstration. And when we demonstrate it, yeah, and we also use tradition and discipline for that, then it kind of repeats itself. It moves again like Taurus, yeah, but that's the direction. It always goes from the lower part. Remember, we called it inner flow, and then it goes up to the upper flow. So we can say that if there is no inner flow and discovery, the penta is already dysfunctional. Yeah, it's like the most dysfunctional parts. Yeah, how do we know that? When we build the pentagraph, we're going to see that those areas are going to be white, empty. So for example, in these penta, there are two areas in demonstration in the past. It's actually my family. I mean, the family I'm born in. And here are these two zones that are completely white, yeah, completely empty. So that's what we call the dysfunctional family. If at least one zone is empty. So you don't need to have a program in order to understand that. You can just take the body graphs of your family, and just like Veronica said, look at those 6 channels and see if there is a gate, at least one gate, that will not be present in anybody's body graph. And so that's how you know that your penta, your family, is dysfunctional. And needless to say, in small families, especially a one-child families, most of them just are not functional. And that's why statistically, the most divorces are happening in a one-child family. Because when the second child comes, the but level of possibility of filling the zone is already getting higher. Like you see in this pentagraph, you see 4 colors: the green, the blue, the purple, and the red. So there are 4 people. Yeah, it's my parents and my brother. And so each person is brings their own flavor. For example, you see there are 2 zones when 3 people have the same gate. So it actually also doesn't mean, wow, that's amazing, because that also can create tension. And it also can create this like, I'm responsible for it, or I'm responsible for it. In reality, what Penta does, it takes those qualities and it kind of redistributes them. Yeah, it's like you have this sack of the dice and you kind of move it around and then throw on the table. Yeah, who catches? Meaning that not necessarily when the family is operating as a construct, that the person who has the gate is going to be embodying this gate. Sometimes the other can get conditioned. And that's how we play the roles that are not ours initially. Of course, that's why when we work with the family analysis, first of all, we send people to do their own foundation reading. Because without the foundation reading strategy and authority, all of this knowing is totally useless, right? Yeah, Veronica, you want to add something here?
Mm-hmm. So just for people to imagine, so those are the 6 gates. So the down part, and then the in the G, and then we have here. Yeah, so basically what is happening in the penta is that from the whole design, because here you see no emotions, no survival, no spleen, no root, no ajna. So there is absolutely no head. So there is absolutely no ego. There is no awareness center. So there is no awareness in the penta. There is no ego. There is no everything I already mentioned. And that tells us a lot about the penta too, that it really is a separate mechanism, and it's stripped down to only 6 gates. Sorry, 12 and 6 channels. So all individuality is just dissolved. Really, everything which is left is this. And this, as Julia said, as a specialist in family penta, and she's also BG5 on her in training consultant and engineer, is that it's all about demonstration. So the pentas, they form a unit which wants to demonstrate who they are and to be successful and compare each other and be in a competition with each other. That's why when you look, let's say, in American movies, and somebody buys this type of let's say they decide to buy a basketball for their house to put in front. Very soon the next house will also have a basketball net. Or if you buy a certain car, then the next house will also very soon have a certain car. It's like people are copying each other, and it's subconscious even. It's just out of wanting to demonstrate that you are successful on the material plane. So I find that really amusing, because people think they want a new car or they want a new something, but it actually is the penta energy competing to the other next door penta energy, trying to be the same successful or more successful. And then when you realize it's nothing to do with your own success or your own individual anything, actually, it's really scary, because you're born in a family, and then it's all about the good of the family, not about my good or what I want. It's about the good of the group. And then you go to the kindergarten, and then you go to school, and then you go to work, and everywhere. And actually, you're not even in pentas. It gets even bigger. After 10 people, it's called the business knowledge of OC16 in human design. But can you imagine? This is absolutely, and it's not something we can control, and it's obvious you cannot control it. So this is a part of human design which really shows us very vividly that there is no choice. There's just no choice because um, everything is so complicated energetically, and it's such a deep matrix. And the only possible way to navigate this plane, this material plane, is actually with strategy and authority. That's the only thing which gives you the possibility to center yourself with your own like frequency, resonance, so that you are at the end with the right group. If you're a penta person, because imagine if you have absolutely no definition in any of those gates, you're not a penta person. It's going to be so difficult for you anyways. But at least you know what was going on in your family, and that 99% of all pentas are, as Julia said, dysfunctional, because only one area missing, it's already a dysfunctional penta. And this gives us to really understand how there was no choice. There was no choice that in our family we had issues in certain areas, and they're not resolvable. They're always there. And then it's really relieving to find out, okay, it's not that the people didn't want to make it work, or it's just the penta, and it's no choice. We are really passengers. We cannot control this no matter how much we want to, because it's pure energy, it's nature. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep. So Penta is about harmonizing or organizing energy. We can think about the beehive. Beehive is literally a construct that's so perfect in its geometry. And it's not like bees are taking a course when they are born. They're naturally navigating that inner wisdom that's already imprinted in them by Mother Nature. And so is Penta. Penta is navigating us by its rules that created by Mother Nature. It organizes our energy beyond our conscious comprehension. And it gives us, it has specific roles, yeah, and actually rules, and it gives us specific roles as well. And literally, it doesn't care who is doing what. What it cares for is that what will be done, and that what is we see on the pentagraph through the zones. So what is happening? And obviously, if the zone is not filled, then there are therapies in the best case scenarios. In the worst case scenarios, you just open the news and see what happens in the world. It's literally every family has just so much either exposed or hidden chaos that's happening within it, because obviously nobody knows this information. It's a gift what we have, yeah, with the possibility to look at our penta and to realize, yeah, that wow, that's what it is. Like in my case, for example, when I was 18, I left the family. I told you, yeah, and, as soon as I could leave it, I just left it. And my parents got divorced really a couple years after I left. And it was like, guys, I mean, I know I was a pain in the ass. I was a really like such a heretic without even having a fifth line in my profile. I was just like doing my thing and not giving a shit. I I admit. So once I left, I was thinking, okay, now they're gonna be in peace, with my nice brother. Doesn't look like it. So my whole life, I was blaming whoever these people are and the roles they're playing for not being this and not being that, until I took a course of the family analysis. And in this course, of course, we were asked to bring our families to use as a case. And when I looked at this pantograph, and I'm red here, yeah, so if you look at all the red areas that I fill, and there's three, you see, two on very top and one in the bottom middle. So once I was out of my family, my two-zone dysfunctional family became five-zone dysfunctional family. So it was it became like basically those three people had literally nothing in common anymore. I was sort of the glue sticking them together, if we can call it. It was quite dysfunctional before. So in my case, the divorce of my parents was literally the best decision they could take, because they just became super individual beings, three people having three lives. There was nothing unifying. There was no we are going together toward material success at all. You know, there were attempts of that while I was there. And my parents tried to work together. You know, they tried to involve us to do some home stuff. You know, the summer house stuff. But once I was gone, this family had no chance to exist. Yeah, and this is my case. Of course, yeah, we can look at individual cases. That's what we're gonna do now, but just to show you on my example openly. And I'm not like even feeling uncomfortable sharing with the world, you know, my own story, because I know that my story is a story of so many of those watching. That's what happens if you're not admitting it, the fact of that's how it is, and you're trying to fix what's broken. It's never going to take you into any kind of success. Yeah. Hmm. So yeah, that's basically what I wrote here, yeah, is that by understanding the dynamics of the family, we can really release all these mental stories, all the morals and ethics and have tos that are behind our actions, because we realize that we are helpless when we're getting together to express our uniqueness, our individuality. And that's why all the cultures, without any kind of exception, are keeping us together. Yeah, in schools, in universities, in jobs, in prisons, you know, and in, you know, when I was in China a couple years ago, I witnessed incredible phenomena, because I was deep in the provinces. I was hardly going into big cities. It seemed quite scary to me, but they are as well an obvious representation of these aura boxes, the beehives that are not allowing us any extension of the electromagnetic field and breathing in and out of who we are. But I was in the deep provinces. So it was like, you know, driving through these rice fields and bamboo forests and all of that. And then we were like entering the little village, and we would see these 3, 4 story buildings made of concrete, ugly buildings, and all the families would be like sitting outside the buildings, cooking, playing, elders, youngsters, and it felt weird. And what the guide told us is that the politics of the country is actually to eliminate the little houses as they used to have before. Yeah, they had the yard and several houses around the yard. So the parents are here, children, the grandparents, they were living together, but they had like, it was one layer and wide. And they started bringing people together. And obviously also a civilization. It's we are from being wide and low store, we start getting together and being in the height. And if before the ceilings were at least 4 meters, because they knew about the structure of the aura. If you look at the really ancient buildings that today are used as museums, but before that, people actually lived there, you will see that they always had a really tall ceilings. Why? So the energy field of human can actually breathe. People could still be themselves. And now it's getting smaller and smaller. And of course, on the surface level, the reason for it, yeah, what we are being told is material reasons only. Yeah, so it's cheaper, it gives possibility to more space, which is also kind of truth. But we are not conscious about the fact that actually it is also down to completely strip us out of our individualities and not allow us to be alone mechanically. Never ever, because it means that we're always surrounded by other auras, mostly auras we're not even aware of what they are because they're there behind the walls. We don't know who are our neighbors. Even most of us don't know who are the neighbors in this reality. So this is also quite interesting matter to look at.
Yeah, and I would really like to give the example because I find it fascinating that, for instance, if you look at the world and how it functions in a way, all the newest stuff and super differentiated stuff, maybe in a way, as in terms of variety, comes first from America. And how does America live? In huge spaces. Everything's big in America, you know, and everything. So it's usually people, they have these big houses and they immediately have the baby in the new room. So very often people are aura free, or also older people naturally start to see that they get tired if they sleep with somebody else, and they start sleeping in separate rooms and stuff like that. But then really the novice stuff comes from America and the fastest decisions. Then if you go a little bit towards Europe and towards yeah, where people live more closely to each other, more closer together, then if you move to the third world where everybody lives together in one big space, everybody waking up not as themselves, but as one group aura, it's very difficult to wake up and to actually go out of this and be successful by yourself and have innovative ideas and different ideas which come from your own uniqueness. And when you're constantly in group aura, it cannot wake up. Look at this pentagraph. You're limited literally to just this. And it's really, really limiting. So nothing new can really come out. Practically, those people don't stand a chance that live in those, you know, slums together, hundreds of them. It's just they cannot wake up because they're constantly in this group aura. And knowing that most of the people, as Julia said, in the bigger cities, we come to have a better life. But at the end, we end up being just a hamster in a wheel, doing the same thing, being homogenized and, you know, waking up, going to work, coming back, going to sleep, waking up, going to work, going back, going to sleep. It's one wheel of looking like everybody else in the big picture of things living in your apartment block. So yeah, it's indeed shocking. But you stand a chance when you follow your strategy and authority, and when you try to sleep alone, or at least if there is no energetic possibility that your aura doesn't touch anything, especially if you live in an apartment building, make sure you spend at least 2 or 3 hours a day alone, aura free, just to release everything which is not you, so that you can make the difference, like what is you and what is not you. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question. Alaya, you wanna ask verbally?
Hi, yeah. So thanks for this talk. It's so fascinating. And I know I mentioned at the beginning that I'm spending holidays alone, and I was reflecting on my penta and kind of looking at what I think it is. Of course, not everybody's birth times are correct, but I realized that I don't believe my chart adds anything to the penta that's not already there. So I wonder, in general, what would be that experience if, say, there's four people in a penta and one of them, all the groups, they're already filled by people there. In general, what is that experience like?
So, and that's probably why unconsciously you're getting away from
Oh
all
yeah, yeah.
those.
Is that why it's not a big deal that I'm not there?
Yeah, exactly. Well, to make it short and to the point is basically those are the people who are being the most slaves of Penta. Because you don't bring genetically your element to the pentagraph. But as I said before in the beginning, remember, Penta needs activations, but it doesn't mean that people who carry those activations are actually playing those roles. They may be mostly conditioning others to play those roles. So as the one who doesn't have the penta activations, if you're not being aware of who you are and your powers, you might be the one who is the most active, who plays the most active, like a central role in the whole thing, takes all the responsibilities, tries to be the glue to the family, to fix the inner flow, to fix all the stories, to show up for the world. Look how amazing family we are, and so on and so forth. So I'm basically going to talk about all 12 zones because that's what you're gonna do. If if,
Right.
if you
And
don't,
maybe especially the empty ones, like noticing
of of course,
that there's nothing
it's
there.
exactly the mechanism of what we have with the open and defined centers, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow, so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah, I'm kind of mind blown right now.
So yeah, just for those who don't know or maybe forgot, in the personal body graph, we have a colored and white centers. So those that are colored are our definition. That's what we bring into the world. And the white are open or undefined. And those are kind of a receptors that we're looking at to get those energies, to experience those energies and to be in awe about them. And what the mind does, it always reverses the natural flow of life, and it makes us think that we have to fix in those centers that are wide. We need to reach some kind of level where we feel comfortable there to fix ourselves there, to work on those areas. And those that we do have as our natural activations, we're actually kind of not noticing, neglecting, saying whatever, mostly unconsciously, of course. And so, same mechanism happens in the penta. Those areas that we have open, we're seeking into filling. So, for example, in my penta, we had an nutrition in the past, and indeed, we very rarely showed up together, four of us somewhere. It was mainly my mother and two of us, and my father, as a scientist, he was doing his thing, spending his life in a lab, doing all his crazy experiments. And so I literally do not remember, don't have memories of my family doing something together. It's just like would not happen. It's and so the past, yeah, we would not like see it and watch the albums of, oh wow, what we did together, remember. Nothing of a sort. We didn't even have like pictures on the walls like normal family have, to glue us or to bring us into some kind of narrative that we experienced as an entity, as a family in the past. Yeah, so that's, again, that's my example, but I hope it answers, or shall we extend it in some kind of way?
Actually, I want to give also my example.
Yeah,
I find
please.
it so funny. In our family penta, we miss the inner flow. So the organization, and I can tell you guys, we can never have dinner at the same time. Like, we're so not traditional in this respect. And it's just people are mind blown when they come and they see that we actually almost never sit to eat together as a family. It's like a rare occasion. Everybody eats when they're hungry, and somebody comes from school, from work, from whatever, and it's mind blowing because that's always the issue. Like, we think that all our family problems are because there is not enough organization and inner flow. Like, there is no organization and there is always a mess and we never make it on time and it's just a mess and it will never resolve unless we have somebody come in our penta and bring the inner flow, the fifth gate. So it's really funny to watch, and at the same time, it's really relieving because the frustration from finding out that you're absolutely choiceless, and not only choiceless, but you cannot do anything about it. You're absolutely helpless too. The only thing left is to laugh about it. What can I say? See the irony.
Yep. Oh,
I have a question as well.
Mhm.
please.
So, Penta works when people are in the same aura, in the same space. How it works when people are online, for example, creating some project and cooperating online, they're not in the same aura. Do they still form Penta?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, your question is not about the family penta. Your question is about business penta, just to make it clear, right? And a second, it's of course it works. Of course it works. So people getting together day by day or even few times a week. First of all, we have neutrino distributing information between everything and everything. So when two people get together in the mental plane, tune into each other, especially if there are video and acoustic channels possibility, which is internet. Their energies are start just like these vessels that share the same liquid. Yeah, they start exchanging information. Of course, it's different from auric. There's no question about it. It's not so strong. It's not working that strong, and not maybe all the qualities are involved. But haven't you experienced that? Taking a course, for example, yeah, and meeting even once a week. And the more you go, the more you get in tune with the people, you start feeling them more. Yeah, each group is a different group. If you're taking part in several groups, you start feeling the entity. The more it gets together, the more it grows. And then if one person goes and one person is being added, the field stays more or less, unless the person comes with a very strong penta definitions. And then the chance to bring the flavor to the penta is really grows. And even other people start behaving differently. Yeah. So
Okay.
these are one of the phenomena that we can totally witness online. Do you have that experience? You do,
Okay.
yeah.
But
Alright,
of course, it's via the neutrino, the connection. It's not direct as it would be in aura. Like in aura, it can be really felt really physically, even in your body. So that would be a difference. The other is through the neutrino, which is quite a real thing, because remember when you think of somebody and they suddenly call you on the phone? It's the neutrino. It really travels fast.
I think this is a good idea for a startup, new neutrino startup.
Yeah, actually.
So how do you imagine it work? What are you selling? You're gonna sell neutrinos?
You can send a neutrino, you know, because SMS is like it's pretty old for now. So we next thing will be just to send a neutrino.
I guess that's what they started with, building the Hadron Collider and all kind of labs on the North and South poles, because those are the places where they're experimenting with the qualities of neutrinos.
Oh,
There's even a book about it, Neutrino Hunters. Nothing to do with human design, pure science.
all right.
Julia, would you like to say a few words for each trait?
For each zone,
Yeah, but let's keep it short, because yeah, we're not delivering a class here, right? It's just to show people what we're gonna actually see in the festival, because the Human Design Ray Festival really, guys, gives you an amazing, unique opportunity to taste from each area of human design and have mind-blowing realizations, which will help you understand more how important it is to be grounded in your strategy and authority. And that in those crazy times and with this amazing construct that we live in, the Maya, which is so dense, that's the beauty of human design. And it's for these times, it's for now. And that's why we're creating this space, this platform, so that we can really disseminate the knowledge the further as possible. So if you cannot come to the festival, please welcome friends and people who you might, or colleagues. You see, there is also business application of the system who might benefit from it. Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. It's really priceless, the information that's going to be shared there, and the possibility to integrate it, um, as the recordings will be remaining for quite a while. So yeah, let's look at the two areas, the upper and the lower area. And maybe it's even better, Veronica, if we leave that slide with arrows, because the arrow slide, it literally shows more of the movement of the energy inside the penta, inside the family. And as I said before, it starts on these corners of the blanket, the corners of the pentagraph, that are inner flow and discovery. So the inner flow is really the place which kind of unifies the whole life into these specific patterns, being kind of a glue, it holds the family into specific patterns together. And the inner flow is literally this pulling element. It pulls the forces of the family together. It glues them. Yeah. And the whole information of everybody is brought into the group. And the home is what grounds this pattern, yeah, and all these family habits and family rhythms. Yeah, it establishes literally the way that the environment inside the home is going to be. And on the right side, in the discovery and the world or outer world, is that place that harmonizes the family. And is it gonna feel good inside inside the house, yeah, home, whatever, yeah, the structure, yurt, whatever the structure is. So that's the discovery part. So it's the force that kind of takes all the individuals and homogenizes them, makes them unified. And the world, the 29, is the grounds the concept of what family is into specific action. Yeah, okay, we're together now. Let's do something. Yeah, let's commit to something together. Right? It's this element of commitment to something together. And then those two forces are being unified. It's like, okay, but what are we committing to? What are we flowing to? And that's where we have the demands and the materials. So it's this to maintain the family as a unit. Yeah, these are these material demands for any kind of resources, the time, the energy, the money, the bigger territory, and so on and so forth. So these are the demands. And then we're gonna move to the upper department. We took everything that goes on in the family and start seeing the wider picture. So how do we present ourselves to the world? Yeah, what Veronica was giving these beautiful examples of, let's build the bigger house than the neighbors. So they see that we are well established and all of this. Yeah, the big families that have a generational like exposure. Yeah, they have their own signature. Yeah, their own picture. They herbal like whatever. All of this is let's demonstrate ourselves, yeah, in the now, in the present. So it's this demonstration and the present is kind of this ultimate expression of the family penta into the world. Yeah, how do we show the material success? And here we truly have this family discipline. Yeah, on the left side, it's something that more goes into the future. Yeah, what is going to be our reputation? How we going to show the world that we are respected? Of course, here we're gonna bring all the control mechanisms. Yeah, the competition. Yeah, what you see, for example, also in the families and also in businesses. Yeah, these famous logos, #1 in this and this, or the best of blah blah blah. Those are the discipline and future, actually the keynotes. Yeah, so that's the left side. The right side, yeah, the tradition and the past are being the foundation of these demonstrations. So let's make memories together as a family. Yeah, what is our history? Let's preserve. Yeah, so tradition is making memories and past is preserving memories. And out, yeah, those famous pictures on the wall, yeah, printing albums, creating all of those family meetings, organizing some holidays together is exactly where we are at now. As a 33, and then there are going to be those who are like, I'm not really interested even to be in the wedding, but I'll take care of editing the pictures, making the videos, and all of that. Yeah, so this will be the other side. So we went very briefly through all the zones, so you could really have a taste or smell of what we work with when we do the family analysis. And of course, all of that is way more refined because we can look, it's just one of the ways to look at the pentagraph. There are much, much, much more of those. And usually the analysis is a very complex process. There are very little people who are able to take it in one session because it's really going step by step and looking at the elements, all depending on the request, of course. But I hope that with this short presentation, you already got a feel of what really the family construct is, family construct or business construct. You can look at how families are presenting, and based on these, only this short thing, you can literally start hearing how people are talking keynotes. It's so mind-blowing to see this. People talking keynotes, the movies are showing these patterns. That's what truly happens, yeah, when you know how to see, how to look.
Yeah. Thank you, Julia, for opening the curtain to this and giving more information about Family Penta, because really we're all born in families, and it's now the holiday season, it's Christmas, and most of you guys are probably at home with your parents, or you are now the parent and your kids come to you for the holidays, and we all get together and celebrate together, and we get into pentas and we get again helpless. And no matter how successful and independent and individual and innovative and differentiated, and even if you want enlightened, we have become, we come back home and we become again this little person, or just under the homogenizing force of the family penta, and we're helpless in that. So we wanted to present you this topic right at the holiday season, on Christmas, so that you realize that it's not your family's fault, and that's one of the best things human design brings, is it takes away all the guilt, the shame, and the blame game from us. So we really truly wish you to find your individuality, to find your inner anchor, to find out more about your design, if that's the first time you hear about human design, or you're just a novice, or if you're a seasoned practitioner. Human design has something to give you, and every time there is a human design topic, there will be this little pearl that will be waiting for you if it's on your fractal. So we're super happy to share ourselves with you. And Julia, thank you again for sharing your expertise. Julia is a family penta analyst. And yeah, we are super excited to see you on the Human Design Rave Festival from the 17th to the 22nd of January, 2024, where we're going to have business experiments with business pentas, and then the bigger picture with 16 and 20 people. So we will bring it even further from the family. It will be a real held-on experiment, and if it's successful, maybe it will be even used in the BG5 Institute as a case study for those who are studying to become analysts. So the festival really offers gems on every corner. We have nearly 40 lectures, and if you look at the current price, that will be like 11 euro per lecture, so that's really a steal, guys. Go get your ticket. Do you want to join us? We'll be happy to have you. You're invited, informed, and initiated. Hopefully we'll surprise you very nicely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The time is ticking, and we're very nearing to actually either meet each other or be online together on the festival. So see you soon.
Yeah.